Good, good morning, Judge Lewis Burnell. Who else do we have on this? Is on the call as well. Yes. Okay, good morning, folks. What are we up for this morning, Mr. Stewart? So status, so everything Dad, Dad would like time on Sundays to take the child to church with him. So I believe that's something that we can work out outside of court, and then let's give it like a 45-day status to come back and see how that's working. Does that work for the parties? That would work for the parties. Josh Stewart has been very helpful, and she will also talk to the parties going forward. I think we're going to start that not this week, but next week.
This is me
The 22nd of February.
going to court for my children that were, I feel, that was illegally taken from Wisconsin. The law is no good for people that's incarcerated. It actually allows the other parent to do whatever they please because the other parent is incarcerated, and I have to fight for that law to be changed. So my children are in another state, in Illinois, and was taken. My son was 1 month old, and my daughter was 1 year old, going on 2. And when I went into custody, my husband took the kids to another state, and he kept them there. So now they are in the jurisdiction of Illinois. So now it's hard for me to get my children back here in Wisconsin when I never agreed for my children to go to Illinois. They were born here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We were married here in Racine, Wisconsin. And we lived here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin before I went into custody. So now it's hard for me to get my children back to Wisconsin because Illinois has jurisdiction over my children now. My children are 3 hours away from me in Decatur, Illinois. The agreement with me and my husband was that he was going to come back to Wisconsin 6 months before I got out of prison. And that didn't happen. So now I'm fighting to even see my children. I have to go to court to even see my children. I never lost rights, my rights to my children, or nothing. We never been to court about our children, nothing. But since I was incarcerated, he had the right to go to another state. Now I can't get my children back to Wisconsin. So that's what this court is, us going to court is about, as well as the divorce. I would say that this is tragic for me. I feel it's unfair, especially if I haven't done anything to my children. I'm not even a violent person. I don't even have a violent crime, but I have to go to court because my children, to me, was illegally taken from Wisconsin. Now, to the courts, they wasn't illegally taken because the other parent, me, was incarcerated. This is a difficult situation for me, and I feel God is speaking to me so I can help change that law that parents incarcerated should have every say so about their children going to another state. So I guess I'm going through this for a reason, and that's not for me, but for other people behind me, men and women, because this happens to men and women, and it's unfair. So that's what this is about. This court, I'm going to court for the divorce and to see my children, which we never even been to court for as far as with custody battle or as far as with my children. We never been to court about nothing. But now I have to sign a paper to see my own children that shouldn't have been taken from me because I was incarcerated. My husband was incarcerated for 22 years for armed robbery. And I don't understand how I'm getting judged here because I was incarcerated for 2.5 years. I don't know. The law sometimes is not right for either sex, woman or man. It's just not right. So I'm just waiting for them to call me. I think that they treat people incarcerated so wrong. And I know this has been going on since the beginning of time. I just have to fight. And sometimes you feel like giving up fighting. But sometimes you can be drained and tired. I tried to fight to get my way out of prison because I was unlawfully incarcerated. Yes, that do have to be proven in court. So yes, I'm taking that further to a civil lawsuit. But and I'm representing myself because I don't feel no attorney will represent me the better than I can. So I will have to just study the statutes and study the law, which I have been doing when I was incarcerated this third time. I do also want to find out if I could sue my husband for taking the children and keeping them from me. He kept them from me since I've been incarcerated. I seen my children one time out of 3 years, almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years, February 25th, 2022. But I only seen them once. And our daughter, I seen her on a camera while I was incarcerated. So I seen her on a screen. And my son, I seen him when I was in prison one time. And he was 6 months. He was 6 months old. Um, this is a difficult time for me. I birthed these children and I deserve to see my children. I think that there should be a fairness here. I think people need to be fair. I think the children need to come back to the state of Wisconsin where they were originally at before they were taken. I feel that he shouldn't, I feel that the law should state You don't have no right to take the children out of state, especially if those children were born in that state or y'all lived in that state. But the law really don't care about people that's incarcerated. Trust me, man or woman. And they really do the women in because the man fight for themselves sometimes, a lot of the times. Women don't. Women usually fight against each other, but men usually they settle their differences and they fight together. Even if they're into it with each other, they still fight together and get together and do things. Women, they too catty, too mouthy, and they go against each other. So women will probably in prison will probably never really have too much because we don't fight together like the men do. I'm looking at the camera because I'm on a Zoom court visit. I can't show the camera because that's probably against the law. So, but that's what this is about. Me fighting to get visitation for my children. So I went to prison. Well, I got locked up February 25th, 2019, at 7 months pregnant. I did have my child, my third child, while I was incarcerated in April 2019. I seen my daughter once, like I stated. I seen her May 22nd, 2019, over a screen, a video screen at MSDF, which is a prison, okay? Because it's a building inside of a building. You can't even see outside. And you pretty much locked down 20 hours out the day, okay? So I seen our daughter May 22nd, 2019. I got locked up February 25th, 2019. That I only seen her one time on the screen. I seen our son at 6 months, November 3rd. Um, November 3rd, 2019, I think. He was 6 months pregnant. I mean, 6 months. He was 6 months old. Um, I only seen him one time, but I seen him in person. And that's only because my cousin brought him up to the prison to see me. Him and my cousin brought him and my mother to the prison to see me. My husband would not come and see me in prison. He did not send me pictures of the children. He didn't even really let me speak to the children. Okay. Um, I was incarcerated 2.5 years. And those probably were the worst years of my life. Actually, those were the worst years of my life. But God has called me to use my voice for the voiceless, especially parents. The majority of people are parents. Um, I I don't know, but some gotta change, especially for incarcerated people. Yeah, they gotta change, especially for incarcerated parents that have not lost their rights to their children. Yeah, but I'm gonna fight to my last breath. These are my children, and they do deserve to see their mother. I don't care what parents have going on together as husband and wife or girlfriend, boyfriend, or whatever the case may be. If y'all got children together, y'all don't pull them children into, like, y'all don't pull those children into the situation. I feel that y'all need to leave kids out of that. Stop using your kids as a weapon against the other parent. That's unfair. I feel like him keeping the children from me, he still deserves to see his children because he's their father. So even with him doing this to me, he even blocked me from calling the children, from calling his phone. He blocked me, I think, for 3 weeks in October. See, that should have been a violation. But I don't think it was, but that should have been a violation because I couldn't talk to my children for 3 weeks because he blocked my number. It's funny because you may not know the person you even marrying, which I didn't know. Really, I really didn't know him. But I married because I felt that that was the right thing to do. And then look how it turned out. You know, I've made mistakes in my marriage. He made mistakes in the marriage, but it still don't allow a person to take your children from you. So none of us is perfect. We're imperfect. But I'll tell you this, I'm connected to the one that is perfect, and that's Christ. That's who I'm connected to. Regardless of my past or regardless of what I've done in my life. And him too. We're connected to Christ. But you don't keep children from the other parent, especially if the other parent don't have a violent crime or don't haven't even been to court about the children. So there should be no reason for me to have to sign a paper for me to see my kids because he fears that I'm going to take the kids from him. But that's what he did to me. He took the kids from me to a whole nother state, to the state of Illinois. Now I'm fighting to see my own children that I birthed. Anything is fine for me, with me. Okay. Thank you. Okay, that was it. It was real short and simple. But this thing has been dragging out for so long. And what's crazy is that he didn't tell me that he reopened the case in Illinois. So this was secretly done. I wasn't even notified. I wasn't even served that he reopened the case because he filed for divorce July 2020 and then they dismissed it November 2020 because he didn't show up. The petitioner has to show up in order for the case to be for in order for the case to proceed. Um, so in November 2020, they dismissed this case, but I opened up a divorce case in Wisconsin in December, and then he was served in December. So come January 2021, I found out. In October, I found out. October 2021, I found out that in January 2021, while we had um a case pending in Wisconsin, a divorce proceeding pending in Wisconsin, he reopened the case in Illinois in January 2021, knowing that we had a case in Wisconsin already open because his case was dismissed in November 2020. So I need to find out and research and dig to see if that's legal. Because I will be I will start up a civil lawsuit against my spouse because of taking the children out of the state of Wisconsin and keeping the children from me. But he's trying to make it seem as though he's not keeping the children from me. But actions speak louder than words. You hear me? Um, I wouldn't have to go through all this to see my babies if a person was trying to allow me or let me see my children. Even if I had to come to the state of Illinois to see my children, I should have been able to do that, but I'm not. So we can kind of see here that he's not allowing me to see the kids until I sign this paper. And what's crazy is because he's fearing that I'm gonna take the kids from him, but that's what he did to me. So I'm a little confused about that. I would never keep a child or children from their father. That's not the kind of woman that I am. Just because me and him are going through differences, I would never keep them from him because that affects the kids. And the children need both parents, not just one, both. Trust me, because I was raised in a single family home and I needed my father to tell me certain things that my mother couldn't tell me. So that's why God made man and woman, because we need both to balance each other out. Um, well, that's it, y'all. This is what Kiana's Kitchen is about. You can, if you have any questions, any concerns, anything, you can email me at ladyq@kianaskitchen.com. And kitchen is with the Q. You can visit my website at www.kianaskitchen.com. And this is what Kiana's Kitchen is about. It's about a lot of things cooking up in the kitchen. And it's not food, it's food for thought. That's what it is. It's food for thought. Knowledge is power. Because if you don't know your rights, if you don't know and you don't read, self educate yourself about the law, you gonna be lost, and they gonna treat you anyway like they did me. But this was meant for a reason, and it's time to fight the good fight. It's time to help other people out of their situations. That's what I didn't find my purpose. Well, I found my purpose in my pain. While I was going through all that, God revealed my purpose to me. And that's to fight for incarcerated women and men that are parents, um, incarcerated women and men that are going through revocation hearings, because at my revocation hearing, my constitutional rights were violated. My rights were violated at the hospital when I had my baby, when I was incarcerated, when I had my third child, my rights were violated. I will talk about that later, go into detail with how my rights were violated later on. I'm gonna start streaming soon. Yeah, so if you would like to visit the website, it's www.kianaskitchen.com. Kitchen is spelled with a Q. If you need me to, well, it should be, well, I'll put it on this video and I'll put it below so you can see the email address and so you can see the website. And like I said, this is what Kiana's Kitchen is about. Kiana's Kitchen is about spitting knowledge out there to people who don't know their rights. Allowing people to see my life out loud of what I'm going through. I don't think I deserve for my children to be even taken from me. Well, they wasn't legally taken from me. My husband took them to another state. I don't deserve that. So I'm fighting to get visitation for my children. I'm fighting to see my children. And my children are 2 years old and 4 years old. And they need to know their mother. The newborn baby, he don't know me. I've only been with him for I left him at 3 days old in the hospital because I had to go back to jail, back to prison. So I got to spend 3 days with my son, and then that was it. And it's time to fight. So if you want to reach me, if you want to visit my website, I'm still working on my website. I'm still working on a lot of things, but I do have to put the word out there. Food for thought. Knowledge is power. Peace is power. Love is power, but your voice is powerful. And that's why God gave you your voice. So you can speak. So you can speak out loud. Like I said, no one is perfect. The only perfect person on this earth was Christ, Jesus Christ. And Christ is just the title. And it's, yeah, so I know this video is about 30 minutes long. But if I can help somebody, if I can help one person, I've accomplished my mission. It's not even about numbers, but I would love to help more than one person. So I'm walking in my purpose, and I didn't find my purpose until I went through my pain. Okay, y'all.